Speaking of change, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it is acceptable in the media to engage in overt race hatred. Here's the most latest example. Journalists are celebrating a book called The Last White Man. It's a fictional account, but effectively it celebrates the elimination of an entire race, which used to be called genocide, and we were always against that, but not anymore. The author of the book, Mohsin Hamid, said it would be, quote, the beginning of something great if an entire race disappears. Wired magazine agrees. They called the book, quote, a glimpse of a future without white people, and of course they're celebrating this. When did we all get behind the idea of genocide being a good thing? Oh, shut up, don't notice. But it's hard not to notice because they're saying it out loud. What should we think of this? Pedro Gonzalez is associate editor at Chronicles. He joins us tonight. Pedro, this seems like kind of a sea change. You didn't used to be allowed to say, I hate an entire race of people and hope for their extinction. Wired magazine wouldn't kind of have your back on that, right, but now they do. What is this?
Right. Well, it's a new phenomenon that goes just beyond books, but I think it's important to actually do an overview of The Last White Man. Basically, the characters suffer through these apocalyptic changes as violence escalates as whites disappear. Pale-skinned militants in woodland camos stalk the streets, attacking people with impunity from the cops. But a calm settles upon the world once whites disappear from its face forever. A book like this, which is somewhere between racial exterminationist literature with a kind of wistful touch and liberal pornography, could only be written about one group, and that privilege is reserved for whites. There's a whole industry for this stuff, Tucker, and there are no shortage, as they believe, truly, that there's no limit to the amount of demeaning that we can inflict on whites, and again, it goes beyond bad books like The Last White Man. And I'll give you a different but related example of this phenomenon. The Minneapolis Public Schools and local teachers union have recently instituted a new policy in which, when it comes to downsizing and layoffs, the rule is white teachers must be laid off before any teacher of color. In other words, they've codified racial discrimination against whites in real life, not in fiction. In an age where we talk a whole lot about discrimination and hate speech, we've actually formally instituted it in the United States against the group who we blame for this stuff, and that is obviously white people.
Yeah, it can't. I mean, this, racism doesn't ever end well, and at this scale, it'll end very badly. And I hope they stop it immediately. It's beyond belief. Pedro Gonzalez, I appreciate the clarity of that. Thank you.